What's going on, college football fans, Michigan fans? It's your boy Marcus, one half of House Divided, coming at you with another video. We're going to be breaking down this weekend's game, which was supposed to be our funeral. It's supposed to be our going home ceremony. So, I'm a little bit confused. We're still here and we're still alive. We'll talk about that, our game this weekend versus Washington. We will also talk about our yearly curb stomping of Little Brother. Before we hop into that, like, share, subscribe, as always, trying to get bigger and bigger as we go. Make sure you do all that jazz. Saturdays are big mornings for us. Big college football show at 11. Myself, Josh, Maze Madman, Maniac, Johnny Olden, whole crew will be doing those at 11 on Saturday morning. So make sure you tune in live right here on this station. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and talk about last week's game. So again, a lot of pessimism around the program last week. A lot of y'all was trying to get the head coach up out of here, it's college football. It's to be expected. I think the vast majority of people are very reactionary. And so, you get into these type of seasons where you have kind of up and down success. I think a lot of people start to get a little squirrely, not just fans, literally not just fans, former players. I had one former player who will go unnamed because there's no reason to start that, but was basically saying that the program was on was at a crossroads of either being a mediocre program or continue to win titles. Guys, Clemson hasn't won a national championship since Trevor Lawrence was there, and people are just now getting to the point where they're off the Clemson train in 2025. Just now. We're just now getting to the point where we're not paying automatic deference to Clemson. Who else has enjoyed that type of luxury? I mean, shit. There was an entire decade in between national championships for Ohio State, and nobody lost faith. Nobody lost faith. I don't think, even in my lifetime, Michigan has been the type of program that is in the national champion spotlight year after year after year. So I'm really just confused at what all the hyperbole was for, especially from former players, guys that have been in the foxhole. I really didn't get that. There's criticisms, right? There's criticisms that comes with solutions-based answers, like let's break down ball and talk about how we get better. And then there's just belly aching. And boy, was there a lot of belly aching, a lot of woe is me, our lives are over, what are we going to do? And yeah, no, just wasn't fond of it. But I'm glad they were able to get back on track there against Washington, an offense that presented a lot of the same issues that USC did. Coming in, Damon Williams that probably had one of his best games of his career. Washington as a team was hot, coming in off of a huge win, looking to keep that momentum going. I think early on, Michigan showed that they had a plan for Damon Williams, right? A lot of must rush, rushing under control, right? And even with that, they got a couple of sacks. So to not be playing to go and tear the quarterback's head off most of the time during the game, and then still end up in the backfield getting pressure, that's a positive. I believe they only blitzed around like 20% of the time this game. So, I mean, a complete night and day difference in terms of tendency. So that's a way to confuse things as well. If not for making the defense less complex, then just being less schemable. You know what I mean? Having the defense be a little bit more versatile and that guys can't tell what you're doing all the time. I think that would be a benefit to Wink and the defense going forward. The funny thing is that we've had in the 2 years that Wink has been there, I believe we have a lot more positive performances than negative. I think the things that stand out is that when it's bad, it's really bad. When it's bad, it's really bad, and that kind of feels like Don Brown. And so people get PTSD. People get that knee jerk reaction. It's not just the guys having a bad night out. It's the scheme. It's the coaching. It's everything else. So I'm glad that they were able to come out and have a better showing in that regard. Linebackers continue to be a terror, man. I mean, the Jimmy Rolder, Cole Sullivan, Ernest has been playing a lot more under control, not missing as many tackles. That entire room, man, it is the it's usually the core of the defense, but it truly is for this team. I think it drives a lot of the playmaking. I think the second level of our defense is packed full of starters, so that's a benefit that you can have multiple waves of guys and not feel like you're about to have a drop off. Um, Even the defensive line is starting to play a little bit better. Troy Williams playing a little bit better. I think he probably was one of those guys that got a stern talking to from Sherrone about having to play better. Trey Pierce continues to ascend. Um, you're just seeing things from guys that when we were losing this year, they were kind of disappearing. In the secondary, Shamari Earls played a lot more in this game. I think that has something to do with the way that guys were getting Olayed versus USC. Is like, well, we're going to get run pass. I'll get run pass with the talented freshman so he can get better. So he played a lot more snaps. Caleb Anderson played in this game a little bit too. I think this is his first game action back since his injury. So it'll be interesting to see how he works into the rotation with Jaden Sanders playing as well as he has, and obviously Zeke and Jair. So if nothing else, just a little bit more competition, kind of drive the reps. Um, yeah, man, defensively, just a much better outing. They blitzed less, they got more pressure, and they were able to corral an offense that had been tearing the world up. So I've really got not that many complaints for the defense. I think going forward, they should switch tendencies more to confuse teams and to beat the scheming that they're doing throughout the week. But going forward, man, it should be nothing else but ascension from here. This should be the point where we start building those blocks to the stretch run into the postseason. So, offensively, another good building block game for Bryce, who's 21 of 27. Had some really good throws from the pocket this week. I do think he's still better on the move, RPOs, sprint outs, stuff like that. But man, is he coming along as a thrower of the football? I think when the run game is dominant, it really opens stuff up for him. I know that's for some reason that has become the calling card of like bad quarterbacks needing to run a game. It's just the natural symbiosis of football, right? When you are drawing defenders closer to the line of scrimmage because you're dominating them physically, it's just always going to make it easier on your quarterback. So, um, I think that has to be the point of focus in every game for the rest of the year out. Is that we need to have the running game rolling and then allow Bryce to play a little bit more free. Have some bigger windows to throw into. Running game, Jordan Marshall took over in the backfield for this one. Just an unstoppable force, man. If a play is blocked for 2, he's getting at least 4. At least. And that's the type of back that you want to have in the backfield. Now, obviously, he's splitting time with Justice Haynes. When he gets back, he's probably going to be the starter. Finding plays to run for Jordan Marshall where he can use that skill set. Third and shorts for the rest of the season should be Jordan Marshall. I do think that they got hosed on that 4th and 2 in the red zone the second quarter. I think they absolutely got hosed. Why we couldn't review the spot, I have no fucking clue. According to Sherrone Moore, they wouldn't let him review it. But I think that was garbage. But anyways, yeah, more opportunities for Jordan Marshall to show his skill set. It's not a 1-to-1 to Justice Haynes, so I feel like the running calls have to be adjusted slightly, but they should continue to work him in because he's an asset. Wide receivers this week, Andrew Marsh took another step, man. Andrew Marsh is going to be a dangerous guy here. Because you can still tell that the plays that they're calling for him are mostly like schemed up type stuff, like play calls for him. Like the ball's already set to go to him and he's performing anyways. So as he becomes more and more of a just a regular part of the offense, like get the ball to Marsh is part of the offense now. I think that that's only going to open up Donovan McCulley more, who's a guy who doesn't need a whole bunch of help, just throw the ball in his area, and that just gives more things to guard as the offense continues to open up. Marlon Klein, another game out for him, but Zach Marshall and Deacon Tonielli showed up in a pretty big way. Deacon Tonielli had a little problem with drops, but I think he stepped in well. I think he acquainted himself well. He made himself available for Bryce a lot. Zach Marshall looked like a completely different guy, man. He wasn't playing like that in the first couple of games of the season. I was asking them to put him down, like maybe set him down. I think maybe we should see some prescoring or somebody else, because it just didn't look like it was working out. But he played a good game this game. And again, another receiving threat for Bryce. Um, I think as they continue to work the tight ends, as we get more healthy in that room, right? We get not only Marlon Klein, but Hogan Hansen back. We have the potential of being a very hard to guard offense. And again, there's a gift and a curse of hitting this stride so late in the season. Maybe you would have been able to pick up some games that you lost early in the season if you had been better. But the positive thing about it is that you're getting momentum at the right time. Right, back half of the season, games getting a little bit tougher, weather getting colder. Teams starting to check out. The teams that don't have postseason aspirations are either trying to play spoiler or they're looking for their next team. And so this is either an opportunity for you to build, get your depth pieces playing time for the stretch run of the season, or you can get tripped up by one of these teams who's just looking to play spoiler on somebody's season. So um, focus in. Definitely got some things to clean up still, but very encouraged by what I saw from the team this Saturday. Now coming up, we've got a Slobberknocker versus Sparty. The only thing I hate about this game is that they scheduled it at 7:30. Hate that. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. Want no parts of it. You can have the 7:30 kickoffs. I happen to think that Michigan is a terrible 7:30 team, but you don't have to ask me. You can just ask our record. You can just ask our record. Um, but again, we played them at night the last 2 years, and beat them soundly on both occasions. Um, I almost wish that they were better so that this was a competitive game. Now, don't let me count them completely out because they've got weapons, right? Nick Marsh is still a weapon over there, soon to be a Wolverine. Hayden Childs still a dangerous quarterback, right? He's a guy that you have to corral, similar to what we're talking about with Damon Williams. I don't think he's as quick in his processing as Damon is. I don't think the offense is set up for quick strike stuff. So that'll be a positive. We'll have a chance to actually pin our ears back and get after him in passing situations. But in terms of being able to break out of the pocket and make plays with his legs, that is definitely an apt comparison. And so we'll have to be tight on that. We'll have to watch him and make sure that he's not getting the offense going that way. But this isn't a team whose run game, their pure running game, I fear a lot. I know they have weapons on the outside, but they have to have time to get them there. They also have to have a running game to balance it out, which I don't know if any of that is necessarily going to play a factor in this game. Um, Michigan State's on a slide, right? I think 4 games in a row. Desperate rivalry game. I think throughout the first quarter or so, maybe first quarter and a half, it'll be competitive because they'll play up for sure. They'll be playing above their normal. And then over time, the talent differential will start to show itself, and Michigan will do their thing late into the second half. That's how I expect it to go. But defensively, we've got to be sound. We've got to be in our lanes. We can't give up big play opportunities. And then offensively, it's more of what we got last week, right? We need to possess the football. We need to run the football. We need to be picking up first downs. We need to play ahead of the chains. Um, Not a game where I would want them to be putting Bryson in third and mediums or third and long situations and expecting them to pick it up. Let's continue to let him mature, throw from the pocket more comfortably, but do so in third and short situations if he has to. Not 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 11s. I guess let's talk about the obvious and whether or not there's going to be any extracurricular activities. I do think that security is going to be on high alert for this game. I do think that both coaching staffs, because I mean Jonathan Smith is not necessarily the guy that wants that type of stuff, especially this early in his tenure at Michigan State. Don't think he can afford it. Not this season. Right? They're not doing very well. So same thing for Sherrone Moore. I don't think he wants any more of the tunnel incidents or the fights on field, which he can't control. But I do think he will be very tough on the guys about, you know, playing through the whistle, but being cognizant of who's on the other side and what kind of tactics that team seems to deploy to muddy this game up, regardless of who's at the helm. Right? Like we can go all the way back to John L. Smith and remember some of the nastiness in this rivalry. I don't think that either side has had a lack of conversation around it, and yet still we end up there more times than not. So a lot of focus on that. I would like to blow them out and get out of there quickly. Maybe get some glimpses of Jaden Davis in this game. We should absolutely see that. I don't know if I want to go through an entire season without seeing him. You know what's interesting is Jaden didn't use he didn't use his red shirt, I don't think, last year. I wonder if there's a scenario, because I mean we're 7 games in, and I've seen him take maybe 5 snaps. Hasn't thrown it all. Maybe he's still eligible for a red shirt. I don't know. I don't know if that's the plan, because I mean you would think getting into later in the season with some of these games that might be competitive, if we get into game 10 or 11 and he still has multiple games worth of playing time to still, garner a red shirt, I would take it. I would take it. Help extend my college career. Yeah, got ultimate confidence in the boys this weekend. I think that they'll continue to build on what we had last week. They'll continue to grow off of that, and we should have a pretty good time there against Little Brother. We should have an easy Saturday night, and I don't think that they'll have too much problems with the schedule the rest of the way up until Ohio State if they're focused and they're doing what they need to do. We got this game, then we got Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland, and then Ohio State. Ideally, they go into that game 9-2. Maybe Ohio State drops another one before we get there, maybe not. But in terms of a postseason scenario, it's win and get in. And so that's the ideal setup right now. That's kind of where things are aligning. But you got to go out there and do it. You got to go out there and do it. And the teams that we're going to be playing over the next couple of weeks, while they look inferior on paper, they have every reason in the world to try and upset an ascending Michigan team late in the season. So be cognizant of that and take care of business. That's going to be it right now. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe one more time. Let us know that you appreciate the content we got coming out. Make sure you do all of that good stuff. Catch us on Saturdays for the live college football show. The big college football show at 11. Other than that, man, you be safe. We'll see you on Saturday.